welcome back to Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. My name is John Polnik. I'm your host for the show, along with my partner Michael Deeb. Look, there he is. He's an expert. He knows stuff. I don't know. That's what he tells me. I don't know if it's entirely true. It's unconfirmed. How you doing, Michael Deeb?
I'm doing good, man. Welcome back. Long time no see.
I know we're doing this show again. We are. Fans of the show may notice that my background is different. We have an all new studio. Not too bad, right? Check it out. Here, I'm gonna do
awesome.
We won't do this on every show, but
slots.
You can see. Yeah, we have our very own slot machine. If you come down to the Bid Nerds studio, this is called our studio. We're going to be doing the Rummy show out of here, and I think Mental's going to start coming to doing Everyone Races in here, and we're going to do some other stuff.
Bitchin' new digs, dude.
Thanks, man. Thanks. We're really excited about it. But yeah,
I'm in my dining room, also known as the 11th Avenue Studios in San Francisco.
Nice. And you've got a new one kind of set up in the basement we're going to be seeing here pretty soon, right?
Work in progress. We will eventually move downstairs. There's a baby coming that's going to occupy the upstairs, so I'm going to get it kicked out of this floor. But we'll take this new rig and set it up downstairs. But for now, this is it. Here we are. We're live.
Man. Awesome, man. Well, it's great to get back at it. So what we're going to do here, guys, like I said, we're going to do this a little differently. We're going to do one car a day, just one car. And today's car is a car that Michael Deeb found on Cars and Bids, and this is a 2021?
Yes, Tesla? Check it out. Check it out on Cars. On Cars and Bids, Doug DeMiro found himself a 2021 Tesla Model S Plaid. And honestly, I picked this car because Daniel's got one, right? Didn't Daniel buy one of these things?
Daniel from German Motors, yeah.
And I, look, JP, we last did the show together in August, and since then, the market has been going absolutely crazy. Cars and parts and services are all in short supply. And so what we're seeing is the even late model, expensive luxury cars are holding their value better than they would in a normal market, in a normal time of our life. And so here we have, 1,000 horsepower Tesla Model S with 7,100 miles offered to us on Cars and Bids out of Savage, Minnesota. Say hello if you're from Savage, Minnesota. Never heard of it. But anyway, this car is there. It looks to be spectacular. This was a $140,000 MSRP car. This car has 21-inch Arachnid wheels. And JP, get this, with a 400-mile range on a Model S Plaid, the 21-inch wheels, which are, of course, a performance upgrade, cut 50 miles off your range. So it takes your range down to 348 miles. But this car does come with all the bells and whistles. It's got full self-driving capability. It's got the Plaid-specific bodywork, LED lights. It's got a glass roof. You've got heated and ventilated front seats. You've got heated rear seats. And JP, as you were scrolling through those images, in the interior, I think two of the things that jump off the screen are the 17-inch front touchscreen and the yoke steering wheel, which looks like it came out of a car out of Le Mans, that U-shaped steering wheel, which looks pure race car. So really neat stuff. All the bells and whistles, reasonable miles for a car that's just a year old, but at $140,000 MSRP, I thought the interesting thing about this car, as it's arguably one of the quickest cars for sale in the universe today, is how well this thing is going to hold its value. Where ordinarily when we see high-end performance cars, especially sedans out of Europe and Japan, a year or two into their lifetime, and once you've got several thousand miles on the odometer, from a value standpoint, these cars typically fall off a cliff, and they can be had for large chunks under MSRP. But I have a sneaky suspicion that this car will sell for a lot closer to MSRP than most people would think. So JP, I turn it over to you because I've only ever gotten a ride in a Tesla, and it was a D. It was not an S, and it was not a Plaid. I am not even acutely aware of just how quick this car actually is, but I imagine you've ridden in Daniel's car. tell me more about this car. Tell me about the things that I'm missing besides all the obvious gizmos and the latest from Tesla.
Well, I don't think you've missed anything huge other than the thing that this car comes with automatically is douchebag drivers. I mean, there is almost no way around it. It is look, by the numbers, this car is magnificent. All right, this really is a supercar. It's a hypercar, really, in a sheep's clothing. I mean, this thing really isn't that exciting to look at. It looks like any other Model S. I mean, with a couple more lines on it. It is a pretty car, but you could easily mistake this for whatever the new Kia Stinger or the latest Camry that's out there. I mean, and I don't really even mean that in a bad way. I think that's kind of Tesla's ethos. It's just kind of it's a sedan, for crying out loud. But the problem is that the drivers, you ride in one of these, and I've driven a gajillion Teslas, all different types, all the different models. I've never actually driven a Plaid, but I have ridden in a couple of them, and Daniel's is one of them. And the problem, it's look, I'm not calling Daniel a D-bag. Maybe I am. Daniel, you're watching.
Hi, Daniel.
He calls me a D-bag all the time. Much worse, I'm sure, when I'm not looking. But here's the thing. It's just the person behind the wheel cannot help but try to show you how fast it is. It's like, yes, we know. Okay, my God, it's broken again. Okay, God. God forbid you're looking. It's like, oh, there's a cute puppy or a pretty girl or something like that. If you're looking the other way and suddenly the driver just spontaneously, hey, did I
break your neck?
Tell you how fast this is? And he stops on the accelerator, and you're just like, it is not fun. I mean, even the regular S's with Plaid mode are just. They'll make you nauseous. It's just I don't enjoy being in one, especially with that CrossFit style. Everyone that has one of these has to tell you that they're into it, and that's the jam. Man, and I like Elon Musk. I'm not an Elon Musk hater, like a lot of people are. I think this car is fantastic, but dang, you just don't want to be that guy. I don't know. What's your opinion of these cars?
Yeah.
You've been in Teslas, but you haven't been in an S or a Plaid?
I haven't been in an S or a Plaid. I got a ride and it was fast. It was really quick, but it was cold out. The tires didn't really hook up. And as quick as it was, there was wheel spin, which was really interesting from a car that heavy with all-wheel drive. But this thing's got 1,020 horsepower and 1,050 pound-foot of torque. I mean, it's bonkers, man. It's absolutely crazy. I appreciate the technology. I'm not an EV convert just yet. And I would have to admit that the Audi is the prettiest one on the market right now. I think the Audi's prettier than the Taycan, and I think the Taycan's prettier than the Tesla. But I'll continue to burn fossil fuels, and I'll feel better about it while everybody else converts to electric cars. I'm just not that guy. I like to hear the exhaust and the revs. That to me is a massive part of the driving experience, and it's part of the reason why electric cars just don't fit for me. My body doesn't vibrate with the revving of the car, so it's I don't know. It's synthetic to me. It's weirdly mechanical, and it's not emotional. So it's not for me, not yet, anyways. And I don't see it happening anytime soon. This is one of the coolest from Tesla, if not the coolest from Tesla, but I don't pine for one. I just think they're interesting a little bit. And I'd much rather turn my attention to a beat up old 914. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, we always talk about everyone that talks about a Tesla. The first thing they go to is how fast it is, how fast it is, how fast it is. And anyone who's a car enthusiast knows that how fast it is not really the metric that you immediately go to. Well, I remember being a little kid in junior high when I was just learning about cars, and we got this thing in the mail. And it was, do you remember these? This is old guy. I'm not a boomer, but I'm definitely a Gen Xer. Do you remember getting those things in the mail that said, you've won a prize? It's like a satellite dish. And that's when the satellite dishes were as big as the one from the Death Star that take up your whole backyard. Or a car.
Direct TV.
Or a big screen TV. And those were also the size of like an RV. But you had to like choose one and then fill the thing out and then send it back. And that was like an early version of phishing scams, you know.
Sure.
Never won anything. But the car that you won on this particular thing was a Fiero.
Right.
Fiero. And of course, you know, back in the 80s, those were really cool looking cars. It was one of the first mid-engine cars that a normal person could get. It was basically that or an MR2. And of course the MR2 was much faster, but I didn't win one of those. But this not the MR2, but this Fiero, I was so excited. I'm picking the Fiero. And I remember going to my older, but you know, I'm like, I don't know, 11 or 12. I don't know anything. Still don't. And I go to my neighbor buddy who's like, he's 16 or whatever, and he knew about cars. He's like, oh, no, you don't want that thing. That's a piece of junk. I'm like, well, how fast it is? It's like, that you don't know anything if that's what you're asking. And he the 16-year-old kid, knew that was the wrong question to ask. It wasn't about how fast it was. And that's where everyone goes with these stupid things. The thing that, and then, you know, God forbid you get in one of these cars, and the first thing they do is they start touching that screen. Oh, let me show you the thing where you can make it sound like a Jetson car, or you can make it fart when you put the blinkers on. And then they do that. They find it in the menu. Like literally, you can make the blinkers be a fart sound, and it'll project a fart sound outside of the car. That's not a joke. That is literally something that this car can do. So you're standing on the curb, and the curb right in front of you is going. It literally does that. I'm not kidding. And then, because they're so excited about using the stupid screen, they don't know how to turn it off, so it just keeps doing it. It's just like, oh God, get me out of this damn car. Look. I've driven all the electric stuff pretty much. You know, I've had the fortune to drive just about everything that's out there, electric-wise. And the Taycan, you know, I'll take a Taycan, the base one, the two-wheel drive one, any day. Because here's the thing: you get in a Taycan and you dive into a corner, and immediately you're like, "Yep, this is a Porsche." This Tesla is an absolutely competent car. It is superb. It rides beautifully. It's so comfortable. It even handles remarkably well, but it handles like a luxury sedan that it is.
Sure.
You feel every pound that is there, and there are a lot of them. So this car is for someone. It's not for me. I don't see how any enthusiast would get into this thing. And that steering wheel is so stupid. And that is one thing that I've actually heard. That's one of the few things that I've heard people that own these actually genuinely complain about. Because, you know, they're just dumb. So, anyways.
It seems incomplete. I mean, it seems like you're sacrificing something there with that cool wheel, like out of a prototype car.
Yeah, and, you know, this whole self-driving thing is pretty interesting. I know that I think there's a lot of people are over-relying on that. I mean, it does work from what I hear pretty well, but it's not full-blown self-driving like what you imagine. You cannot, like, you know, it's just basically you get on the freeway. It's more like a cruise control that'll keep you from drifting into another lane, but you still got to pay attention.
I can't
drink too much and drive these and just like,
Look, JP, you and I are very similar in that, like, as I would make us somehow, and I don't think they're really related, but we're both bad passengers. And the idea of getting behind the wheel of my car and handing over the control of my car to a computer that was made in Korea, I'm like, you know, like, it ain't happening. Like, that's not for me. I can't even right now. So anyway,
you know, I do kind of like that thing where you can summon the car. That's kind of trick, you know, like if you're at the valet or whatever, you park it somewhere, you can hit the button, the car will find you. Stuff one of those little whiz-bang things are kind of neat, I guess, but that's not a reason to spend $150,000 on these. Now, okay, so let's get into market here a little bit, because you're right, things have changed since we've done a show in a while. The market is nuts out there, and
it's eye-watering.
Yeah,
eye-watering. It's crazy.
Having spent a lot of time, I have a lot of dealer clients. For those of you who don't know, I do make television commercials, and I do quite a few for some car dealerships. I still represent some car dealerships, and you know, from all over the spectrum, from Ford to Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, and it's interesting. There are different takes from different manufacturers. You know, Volkswagen cannot make enough cars. Over 2020 and 2021, both years they sold about 400,000 cars. In 2021, they probably would have sold 500,000 if they could have made them. Porsche, on the other hand,
you're talking about the United States, right?
Yeah, North America.
Yeah,
Porsche,
thank you.
Porsche, on the other hand, they're not a volume dealer, same company essentially, but they sold in 2020 somewhere in the neighborhood of 50,000 cars, and in 2021 they sold 75,000 cars. So, or somewhere in that neighborhood. So it was a huge jump, but they don't have to make cars.
If they could have produced 100,000, I bet you they would have sold them all too.
There's probably something to that. I've been likening it to the old nightclub days. I know you used to be in that gig too, where, it's like the rule number one: if you have a nightclub, don't let anyone in. Make a big line out front, so that it looks like something's going on. Get people to think, "Oh, I got to get in line." There's scarcity, right? These dealerships, they don't have, for a moment there, they couldn't get any cars, so they didn't have any cars on their lot, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, I got to get in line." Never mind the nightclub's empty. I got to get in line or I'm going to miss out. And I think that's basically what's going on. And the dealers are sitting there going, well, this is pretty rad right now because customers are very patient. They're not sitting there grinding on the dealerships like they used to. And they're happy to get their car if they can get it in 6 months. And they're paying like full retail on them. It's crazy. So this car, these are not easy to get. Our friend Daniel, the way he got his was not that he went down there and got in line. He just went down, looked at one, got himself on a list, and like literally 3 days later, they called him up and said, "Hey, someone didn't take this order. Do you want it?" And he ran down there and got it. So there were 10 other people that would have done it. He had to get down there within the hour to do it.
Yeah, they could have sold that car 20 times.
Yep. So where is this? So this okay.
Yeah. So let me give it back to you. Let me give it back to you. So JP, this car is going to close tomorrow, Wednesday. Let me just make sure I've got this correct. Wednesday the 2nd. So this car is going to close on Cars and Bids tomorrow, Wednesday the 2nd.
Which doesn't really mean anything if you're watching this because we're probably not going to publish this until next week. So, but from when we're recording this.
Yeah, so the car was $140,000 MSRP. It's a 2021 with 7,100 miles on it. Currently, the high bid is $102,000 on 7 bids. I don't think this car is going to bring MSRP. I don't think red and tan is the best color for this particular car, and it does have 7,000 miles on it. That being said, if there's a line around the block to get the car, I still think it's going to bring a ton of money. So again, I know nothing about the market of these cars other than it's ridiculously high. So with that, I'm going to say it'll bring $130,000, but I am absolutely shooting in the dark, and you can now educate me as to what I don't know.
I don't know if I'm really that up on the current exact, the values of Tesla per se, but I do think that because this is the top of the line Tesla, this is the one that people really, really want, and the people that are in this price range have the money, and they're ready to buy. And I don't think 7,000 miles means diddly squat if the car is in perfect shape like this one is. What was the MSRP on this car?
140 even.
Yeah, so I'm going to say 145. I'm going to go high.
Cool. That's good. All right, well, let's learn. I don't know.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what it actually
I'm guessing.
does. Yeah, because I don't think you just can't go get one of these. If you want one, you got to wait. And again, you mentioned the color. I agree with you that it is, quite frankly, just color combo.
Drab.
Burgundy on tan with wood and black. It's just like that. But I'm sorry to say it, this is Tesla owner spec. Man, this is so many of them, I'm sure, ordered like this. I'm sure there's dudes sitting there with their wives or vice versa that are looking at the color palette and the swatches and doing all the things online and getting so excited about this color. I mean, it just looks like Nissan Altima red if you had to see what color it was.
Metallic red and tan just screams country club, doesn't it, JP?
It's just so invisible. Okay, so what's this thing going to do? So... guys, stick around. We're going to go to a commercial break really quick. And
be right back.
On the other side of the break, we will tell you what this car actually sold for. Nice. Hey, guys, I'm super excited to tell you about our sponsor, Guys Customs. That's Guys, GYX _customs. That's how you spell it. Guys Customs bracelets. These things are amazing. Check them out. They're handmade in America, custom bracelets made to match your watch or your car. These things are unbelievable. I have 3 or 4 of them myself. My partner Michael Deeb has a bunch of them. They're pretty addictive once you get one. Each one of them are bespoke. We're talking carbon fiber. We're talking titanium. We're talking stainless steel, glass. There's none of this cheap Chinese garbage that you see a lot of bracelets being made out there. These ones are super high quality. They're made right here in America. When you go to Guys Customs on Instagram, it's about the only place that you can order one of these. When you DM the artist, you're actually reaching the real artist when you DM Guys Customs at Instagram. And she will make you a bracelet made to match that special watch, that special car, or that special person that has a special watch or a special car and they want something really, really cool in their life. They make the most amazing gifts. I get compliments on mine all the time. Everywhere I go, people are like, wow, that's really cool. You can see in the pictures, these beads, the colored beads are PTS. They're paint to sample. So if you have a specific color code for your car, she'll have beads made that are specifically painted to match your car or your watch. It's unbelievable. You got to get one of these Guys Customs bracelets. Check them out. They support us, and we really, really, really want to support them. Guys Customs bracelets. All right, let's get back to the bids. Let's find out how much that car sold for today. All right, guys, welcome back. Here's the thing. We just found out how much the Model S Plaid, the 2021, went for. So it's about time to do that reveal. Michael Deeb, one more time, what was your bid?
All right, JP, on a 2021 model, Tesla Model S Plaid with super low miles, 7,500 miles or something, I figured $130,000 would take it home. And your guess was $145,000, which was actually closer to the original MSRP. Our car failed to sell at $116,000. So I get the win, but it's a hollow victory.
Yeah, why do you think that car didn't sell on BAT? That's pretty surprising because BAT, we're on Cars and Bids.
And I think that's I actually think it's the platform. Doug DeMuro does really well. I'd say under 80 grand. And that's just a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe at $145,000. His client base at that tax bracket isn't as strong as, let's say, some of the competitors. That would be my thing, because I think that's a nice car, and somewhere in between our two bids is the right take-home number for that vehicle. But that buyer wasn't watching that car on that platform, and that's what I think happened here today. The car is great. The car is awesome.
I mean, like I said before the break, this car. Boy, if the dealership has one of these on the lot, if they even call them dealerships, the second they get one on the ground, if someone orders that car, if the person that ordered the car decides they don't want it, they can sell it instantly, like within minutes. So it really does surprise me that this car didn't bring a higher amount. Cars and Bids, I think you're right. It's probably the platform that failed here. But Teslas have typically done well on Cars and Bids. But I think you're right. Probably $70,000-$80,000, Model S's and Model 3s and older Model S's and that sort of thing. This one being the top of the line, I just don't think anyone was quite looking for this car on Cars and Bids. Or
bummer for the seller. Yeah, it could have been the color. It could have been the color. That's not a bad take. But it's a bummer for the seller because now he's run it. It's failed to sell. I don't think BAT is going to, even if BAT accepted the application, they're not going to put him up in less than 60 days. They will string this guy along so that there's a greater amount of time between the failure to sell and the time they might actually run it. And if the seller's in a hurry, he might wind up going to what is it, CarMax or something, and just dumping it off there, they would have
Yeah.
given him 130 grand. My goodness, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's a good point because, like, at 116 that this thing got up to, that's way less than CarMax would give you for this car,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting take. I wish the person luck. Well, that's one thing that people, you mentioned, whether or not it makes sense to go from this platform now that it failed to another platform. In the process of listing your car on BAT, one of the questions that they ask you is, has the car been sold? Have you attempted to sell the car anywhere else?
Yep.
And so in this instance, you absolutely would have to say yes. And they're
Yeah.
going to look at that and go, I don't know. They don't.
Yeah.
They have so many people that want to sell cars on BAT. That if a car doesn't sell, they don't make any money. So Cars and Bids has plenty of room for cars to be sold. Bring a Trailer doesn't. Every single one of their lots needs to sell. If they put a car up that doesn't sell, that's a slot for a car that probably would have made them money. So
exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Their dance card is full, and they certainly don't want a car that, for any number of reasons, may or may not have been problematic. So if it failed to sell somewhere else, they really don't want you, which is why I think that even if they were to accept it, they would string this guy out as long as possible to create as much time between the failure to sell and the time they run it. So, and that's an if. The sun and the moon and the tides all need to line up for them to say yes. So here, this seller, he's got a problem, man. I think CarMax is the answer. They'll certainly give him more than $116,000, and he wasted his time with Cars and Bids, which is a bummer.
Yeah, CarMax or straight up Cars, Auto Trader or something. Just list it, for a couple days and see if somebody comes and gives you retail for it, which they probably would.
Probably.
All right, well, that's that on the Tesla Plaid. They've gone Plaid, but they failed to stop. They bounced off a star. I don't know. Going light speed is dangerous. That's what Han Solo told us, and the seller should have listened. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, hit that smash button. Hit that smash button. What does that even mean? Smash that like button. See, we're too old. We're not millennials. We don't understand this smash, like, subscribe, hit notifications.
Hulk smash.
Find out. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of Bid Nerds, your daily nerd out on the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive auction sites. My name is JP, along with my host, Michael Deeb. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Nerd!